My name is Stephen Olson, and I'm a mentor with SCORE. And I think you'll find this review today very helpful. And I'm anxious to learn more about what Jessica is going to say and learning more about planning your website for online success. But first, let me give you a little bit of background of the organization that I volunteer with. SCORE is the nation's largest network of volunteer expert business mentors. We are dedicated to helping small businesses get off the ground, grow, and achieve their goals. Since 1964, we have provided education and mentorship to more than 11 million entrepreneurs. SCORE is a 501c3 nonprofit organization and a resource partner with the U.S. Small Business Administration, the SBA. Thanks to the generous support from the SBA, plus the selfless contributions of our more than 10,000 volunteers nationwide, we can deliver our offerings at no cost. We have over 100 volunteers to help you in Chester and Delaware counties. We provide this help through mentoring, webinars, and courses on demand, a library of online resources, plus we are doing live in-person events again. And we have some rules of engagement before we get started here. Presentation is being recorded and it'll be made available to you. Follow up email from SCORE to the address you used when you registered for the event. And we're going to place you on mute to avoid any distractions while Jessica is talking. And if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A box. That's what we'll respond to, and it helps us keep track of the questions, and we'll look at those, respond through those until the session ends. And if you do have comments or other references, you can put those in the chat box to share them, but just not the questions you might have. And before we get started with this, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about Jessica. We're always so pleased when Jessica helps SCORE. She's done it many times. Jessica is the co-founder of CardSetter. It's an easy-to-use website platform with custom design and setup included. Jessica has been helping small businesses launch successful websites for over 8 years. She also spent more than 10 years growing her own successful blog and entertainment website for Billings, Montana, billings365.com. Jessica has been on both sides of the website development, initially as the client and then later as the development company, giving her a robust understanding of the entire process. And you'll obviously see that as she explains what she's doing today, because she certainly knows a lot about websites and development, she can tell you. So with that, Jessica, I'll let you take over and put your slides up, and you can manage those, and I'll watch for questions. And when you're ready, just let me know, and I'll let you know if there are questions that have been submitted.
Oh, that sounds good. Hi, everybody. I'm Jessica, and welcome to the Plan Your Website for Online Success webinar. So here's what we're going to cover today. We'll discuss why planning out your website is so important, and we'll cover what we call a minimum viable launch point. We're going to provide you with a framework to plan your website's foundation. So to think through your website goals, your feature needs, who your audience is, and your website's content. We'll touch on a few additional considerations you should make regarding your website's mobile functionality, your tracking and analytics, and your marketing. And we'll discuss how to choose the right platform or provider. And we'll finish up with some time for some extended Q&A. Feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A as they come to you. I will stop periodically to answer a few of those, and then we'll finish up at the end with the rest. I'm your host today. I am one of the co-founders at CardSetter. We've helped hundreds of website owners take their visions online with our easy-to-use website platform and service. Prior to CardSetter, I owned my own online business called billings365.com. And as mentioned previously, I was also partner in a website development agency where we did WordPress websites for small business clients. So I have lots of experience in the website and online marketing space, and I'm excited to share some of that knowledge with you all today. So first of all, I know I need a website. Where should I build it? Or, who should I hire to build it? This is where people tend to start their website journey. I know I need a website, but then it's really easy to go down kind of a rabbit hole of all sorts of questions and thoughts. Where am I going to build it? Do I need hosting? I know I need to get a domain. Someone told me Wix is bad for SEO. Someone else that I saw on a Facebook group says I should build it on WordPress myself. My friend's nephew is sort of a techie, and she says maybe he could build it for me. Maybe I can find a template and start there. So on and on this line of thinking goes, and it's just not the right place to start. You can't make any of those decisions until you have a solid website plan in place. So why is planning so important? Well, when you plan ahead, you're going to have a framework to make better decisions that are specific to you, your business, and your customer. So whether you decide to build it yourself or you decide to work with a professional, planning ahead is going to help you gain clarity on what you and your customers really need from your website. You'll design your website around the needs of your business and your customers instead of trying to fit your business into a template or platform. It's going to help you prioritize what's most important. It will help you make better choices for your specific needs. It's going to help you save time and money, and it will streamline the entire process so you can launch your website faster. Now, before we get into the planning steps, I want to talk about what we call a minimum viable launch point. So in working with hundreds of business owners on their websites, I've seen many projects just completely stall out because the business owner will be kind of stuck on a specific page or a section of content they want on their website. So as an example, there's a lot of people who want to launch an online course these days. And so a lot of people will get started on their website. They'll be like, yeah, I need to get my website up and running. And in their grand vision for that website, they have the intent to offer a course through their website. But a lot of times these folks have not started on the content that they need for that course. And what tends to happen is that because the course is not ready, they delay getting their website up online because they feel like when the website launches, they have to have this course ready to go and registrations open and all of that stuff. Well, I would suggest that a better approach would be to get the website up online, perhaps talk about the other services that the business offers, give an overview of the expertise that they offer, and maybe even have a page that talks about the course that is coming soon. They could certainly put together, what's going to be included in the course, even include an early registration form, something that could collect emails. So when the course launches, you could notify people who provided their email. But that would allow that business to get their business online and start promoting the rest of their business, start getting early interest in that course that's coming. And then once the course content is ready to go, that could easily be added to the website later. So you want to try to avoid getting held up on something that's part of your grander vision, and just know that you can add those things later. Your website is going to change and evolve as you have new information available, or as the needs of your business changes. So you want to focus on your minimum viable launch. So what is the minimum level of content and functionality that you really need to get your website online with, and then just plan to grow and improve it over time from there. So the point of planning is not to plan to a point of perfection, to have every tiny little detail worked out. It's to give you a good base so you can, improve your website from there. So we're going to get into the first steps for planning your website, and we do have a workbook that goes along nicely with the webinar. If you would like to download it, you are welcome to. I'm just going to drop the link to that planner in the chat so it's easier for you to access. It's not, you don't need to fill it out as we're going through the webinar. Listen to the webinar, and then you'll have that workbook that you can use to put your plan together in your own time. Okay, so once you have a website plan, it's going to make it faster for you to put your website together on your own. Or if you work with a professional, it'll be a really valuable document that you can provide to your website developer or designer with all your specifics in mind. It can even be useful to provide that when you're starting on those initial conversations with possible providers, because you can get a better estimate because they understand all of your requirements. So the first thing we want to do in planning your website is to define the goals for your website. So what is your website's purpose? You might be saying, well, to get customers, of course. And you're right, but that's oversimplifying things a bit. In reality, our website needs to attract and engage our target audience. It has to educate them about your products or services, and it has to drive some percentage of those people to convert. But you want to try to get more specific on those goals for your own business. So, you might say, I'll engage my target audience on my website by providing relevant content that is specific to my audience and my industry. I'll educate potential customers about my business by, that could be, including testimonials and case studies, maybe having a good FAQ section, including a product video. My customers will convert by, what do you want them to do? Book an appointment, call, make a purchase. If I ran a landscaping company, I might say something like, I'll engage my target audience on my website by publishing blog posts about plants that thrive in my area's climate. I'll educate potential customers about my business by developing before and after photo galleries with corresponding client testimonials. My customers will convert by requesting an estimate through an online form. So we want to define these goals, and then we want to plan our website strategy around achieving them. And that's going to bring us to feature needs. So what does your website need to do to help you achieve those goals that you identified in that previous step? If you're going to, write blog posts, then you're going to need a blog feature on your website. Do you want to capture email addresses through a lead capture or, in your e-newsletter? Does your website visitor need to be able to book an appointment with you? Are you selling products? Do you want to offer a membership area or a course? So we want to start thinking about what the website needs to do and which features will allow us to do those things. Now, some of those features may actually come in the form of what we would call a third-party integration. If you plan to have an e-newsletter, you're going to need email newsletter software in order to power that piece of your online marketing. So you might use something like MailChimp or ConvertKit to manage your email list and to design your emails and to send out emails to your list. Well, MailChimp, ConvertKit, other platforms like that offer integrations for your website, so you can generate a sign-up form from your MailChimp account and add it to your website. There might be specific technology that you're going to use or already using in your business. For example, if you were taking payments in person using something like Square as your point of sale, you might want your website to also use Square as your payment processor. So you kind of want to think about, in addition to your website, are there any other online tools that you're going to use or that you already use that offer integrations with your website, so you can get kind of a comprehensive picture of all of your technology and how it might be able to work together. So now that we've defined our website's goals and we're starting to get a good picture of the website needs to do, Now let's think about website content. So this is a really big and important piece of the puzzle. Any website professional will tell you that this is where their website projects tend to stall out. If you haven't thought through your content before beginning the website, the entire process is going to move much, much slower. So before you choose a platform, before you select a provider, before you worry about what your website will look like, it's important to plan your website content. So the first step here is to define our ideal customer, write a key benefit statement, and decide on our website's call to action. Okay, so let's describe our ideal customer. Here we're thinking about who the website is for and really what are their needs. But a lot of times when you're thinking about your website, it's really easy because you've been probably planning your business all this time. It's really easy to think about it from your perspective and think like, this is what I want my website to look like. This is what I want to say about me or my company on my website. And so it comes from a very like personal point of view. But in reality, your website's actually for your ideal customer, that person that you want to attract to your business. So we actually want to think about it in terms of like, would my ideal customer respond well to this design? Am I putting content on here that's going to appeal to their needs? You know, I want to design the website in a way that's going to attract this person. So we really need to get an idea of who this person is. So I like to start that exercise by using just a simple fill in the blank statement. It says, as a type of person, I want some goal so that some reason. So you would fill that out from the perspective of your ideal customer. So one, health coach, just as an example, they might complete that as a busy working parent, I find it challenging to find time for fitness, but I want to feel fit and healthy so that I have more energy to play with my kids after work. So as you can imagine, not every health coach is going to complete that statement the same way because every health coach is going to think about their clientele a little bit differently, right? Or they might, you know, be best suited for a different type of client or just be trying to work with different type of people in their health coaching business. So everyone's going to fill that out a little bit differently. From there, we can come up with a key benefit statement. So why is your business the best choice for that ideal customer you've identified? So our health coach might say something like, feel better and have more energy for the things that matter. You don't have to redesign your life around endless workouts that you hate. I'll help you establish simple habits to improve your health and fitness without a huge time commitment. So the ideal customer statement was just an exercise to help us think about the person we're trying to communicate with. But your key benefit statement is text that you would likely want to include on your website and in your other marketing materials because you're trying to speak in a way that's going to appeal to that ideal customer's needs as it pertains to your business. So now we know who our website is talking to and we know how to communicate the value of our business to them. So now what do we want them to do when they're on our website? This is going to be your primary call to action, and what that is depends on your business and the goals that you set previously. So you might want them to buy a product from your online store, book an appointment with you, contact you for more information, request a quote, sign up for your course. What is that number one thing that you want them to do? You want to define that primary call to action, and then we want to design the website in a way that encourages our ideal customer to take that action. So next, we're going to talk about planning the homepage around these elements, and I'm going to provide the general framework that I start with. And it's applicable to many types of businesses, but these are not, hard rules. Your strategy is going to be specific to your business, but I'm hoping this framework will just kind of help you get thinking in the right direction. So the reason that I wanted to go through ideal customer, key benefit, and call to action is because these are really important for your homepage and really throughout your entire website. So on the homepage, excuse me, the section that you see before you start scrolling, this is where you really want to get your website visitors' attention. So you want them to know, that this business is going to provide value to them. You want to grab their attention with a good headline, and hopefully that will entice them to keep, exploring more on your website and learning more about how you can help them. So I like to start off with a headline that's tied in some way to my key benefit statement, include a little bit of support text to back up that headline, and then follow that up with the call to action. So people know right away if and when they're ready to start working with you or they're ready to purchase from you, this is the action that they should take to get started, right? So that could be call us, request a quote, sign up for a consultation, whatever that initial action that they should take is, that should be front and center here. Okay. If you're an e-commerce company, however, you might take a slightly different approach. In this case, you might actually lead that top section with products. Right? We're all kind of used to that type of pattern. Like your Amazon account, when you log into that, is showing you other products you might like. And Amazon does that because it knows, like, if you see products that you're going to like, you're more likely to get into shopping mode. Well, if you're an e-commerce company, you're mostly selling like physical products and things like that, it might be a better approach to lead off your homepage with products that you believe your ideal customer is going to respond well to, right? You're likely curating products that your ideal customer would like, right? Typically, if you're setting up an e-commerce store, you have a certain type of buyer in mind and you're curating products to appeal to that buyer. So in this case, I might actually lead off with, most popular items or new arrivals for the different seasons or whatever the case may be. I'm going to include products there. And then I still might let you scroll down and have a key benefit, why is your online store the best place to get products like this, and include the call to action to get people into that shopping mode. And then one more example would be if you're kind of a content focused business. So you might be publishing a blog, a newsletter, podcast, or all of the above. Those types of businesses typically are focused on growing an audience or growing a subscriber base, visitors to their website, people in their newsletter, podcast listeners, etc. Growing an audience in which to monetize. So they grow the audience and then they monetize either through sponsorships or they sell their own, membership or ebook or whatever the case may be to that audience. So here, my audience is not gonna grow affinity with me or want to subscribe until they know they like my content. So I might lead that type of website off with content. So I want to get them into reading mode or listening to the podcast or whatever the case may be. So I might include like my most popular articles or articles that are really timely and of the moment up at the top of the page. Okay, so now let's look at a few real world examples. I'm going to show you a few websites. They're not perfect because there's no such thing, but I think they do a good job of illustrating what we've discussed so far. So this is Brit Smart Security's homepage, and it says keeping your family secure and connected. And then they have some support text there that says home security and smart home installation in Columbus and Medina, Ohio. So Brit is specifically speaking to families, in that area of Ohio. They're communicating the motivation for securing your home, right? Keeping your family safe. And they're doing this not only with the words they've chosen for that headline, but with the photo they've chosen for this section as well. So you get a very good idea here of, you know, who the ideal customer is, the key benefit that they're trying to communicate to that ideal customer, and what they want that person to do, which is contact us. So they have, contact us right there, and they also have their phone number highlighted up in the menu. So people know what to do if they have questions or they want to get started with Brit Smart Security. Spiked Olive is a brick and mortar olive oil boutique, but they also sell their products online. So they aim to kind of balance both audiences on their website. So they say enjoy artisanal oils on tap. And then they have a good bit of support text. It says foodies know the importance of keeping a variety of oils in their cupboards. So I like that little statement. I actually think it's better than the headline they've chosen, because when you read that, you're like, it kind of appeals to your desire to be in the foodie club if you like to cook and things like that. And you might, have a thought after you read that, like, do I have enough oils in my cupboard? What type of flavors might I be missing out on? And then this particular business or this website, normally I would say have one primary call to action, try to push people towards that action. But here's a case where it makes sense to veer off of the standard advice. And they have two calls to action because they have two sets of audiences, people who are going to shop locally at their physical location, as well as people who are going to order online. So they include both of those calls to action throughout their website. This next example I wanted to show you because they have put into practice what we call the minimum viable launch, right? So Sprouting Weeds is creating a clothing rental service for baby clothes, and they're planning on getting a website up before they really have everything in place. So they're still working out the logistics of their business, but they want to get a website up so that they can start collecting emails for when they do actually launch the business. So they've got, a good headline here. I actually like their secondary headline better than the one they've got up in their main section, but it says because they grow up so fast and parents understand exactly what that means right off the get-go when you read that, right? And then they have this nice how it works section that explains how their service will work once it does launch. So just in a nice 1, 2, 3 layout. And this is something that I think a lot of businesses ought to do on their website, because it helps remove ambiguity for your website visitor. It lets them know what happens next after they take that initial call to action. So like if you're a consultant and you want people to book an initial consultation, it can be kind of comforting for the person to know what's going to happen after I book that consultation. So you might say something like, step 1, choose a free consultation time at a time that works for you. Step 2, we're going to meet over Zoom and discuss your specific needs. Step 3, I'm going to provide an action plan. And if you approve that action plan, we'll continue working together. Whatever those steps are, that can be really useful information on your website. Along with, you can see here, they have their FAQs lined out. Another one of those things that makes it easier for someone to take your call to action because you're addressing their questions and potential concerns. So, think of your own behavior when you have your questions answered. It makes it easier to decide to move forward, right? Age of Montessori is a Montessori certification program. And one of the things I like on their website is their use of testimonials. So they do a good job of providing support for why you would choose Age of Montessori over competitors, by including testimonials from current and past students. And even though we're mostly talking about the homepage, I want to show you how they carry those strategies into the interior pages. So this is a a page for one of their courses. And you can see here, they're including testimonials, they're including a how it works section, they're including FAQs. So they're really doing a good job of putting all the pieces in place, even on their interior pages, to make it easy for someone to take that initial call to action. Okay. So I know we've covered a lot of examples, and the reason that I wanted to spend so much time on this piece is because when you think about your website's goals, your ideal customer, your key benefit statement, and what you want your website visitor to do, it will not only help you develop your homepage, but it's going to help you strategize the content for the rest of your website. And again, our website planner, which you can download, will help you think through the other pages of your site. Okay, so content. We get asked the question all the time, how often should I update my website, or what type of content do I need to have? And at CardCenter, we're big proponents of having a content marketing strategy for your website. Now, when I'm talking about content marketing, like, of course, your website has content. Like, you're going to have to come up with content for your homepage, your services page, your about page, all of that. That's all content. But when we're talking about content marketing, this is more so about producing content on a regular basis to attract the attention of your target audience, or to give them content that um, poses you as the authority on the topics and in your industry, gives them information to consume, a reason to visit your website often and consume information. So this could be like blog posts, videos, embedded, audio files or podcast episodes, things like that. This is going to help with your search engine optimization, or SEO, getting found at the top of Google search results or other search engines, gives people a reason to visit your website, spend time there. It helps you produce content that you can also use then to post on social media. It just has a lot of long-term lasting benefits. But I know that that can be a daunting task. Blogging every single week can be something that's sort of hard to fit in with everything else that you have going on. So I take a little bit different approach. I try to organize content into like content collections. So think about, what would be appealing information to your target audience, and then come up with 3 to 5 articles around those topics that you can organize onto a nice landing page and make into a nice little guide for that ideal customer that you're trying to connect with. So in this example, our website owner is providing a comprehensive adventure photography guide. It's made up of 4 key articles. So think of all the ways that this could be used by the website owner. They could promote the full guide and drive traffic to this landing page, which they could use in our organic social media posts, or they could run paid ads to it. They could take each individual article and promote it on its own, include those articles in their email newsletter. They could take little snippets from each article and turn those into, an Instagram story or a TikTok video or whatever, social media they're participating on. So I like to think of the website as my content strategy's home base, and then plan external activities from there. For whatever reason, a lot of small business owners can understand the importance of having a content strategy for social media. They know they want to be active on Facebook or Instagram, or, whatever social media their target audience spends time on. But if you're not also creating a content strategy for your website, then you're missing out on, the potential SEO benefits, as well as giving your audience a place to dive deeper and engage with your expertise on a deeper level. So I would encourage you to think about having a strategy for your website as well. And just another example of this, this would be like a wedding planner's uh, guide to, planning the perfect wedding. So they could have, a collection of articles geared towards the newly engaged. They have a checklist here, questions for vendors, tips on what to tackle on your own versus what to leave to a professional. So this makes the wedding planner a valuable resource to potential clients, right? This is the type of content someone who is newly engaged would want to consume and find valuable and useful. So if they land on one of the articles here and they continue reading others, they keep coming back for more of the content that's here, this wedding planner will increase their chances of being top of mind when that person is ready to hire a planner. So, if you were going to hire a wedding planner, are you going to just start from scratch, Googling around, or are you likely to contact the one where you've spent a bunch of time on their website already? Okay, so we've kind of covered the big and important essentials on website planning. And again, I would encourage you to download the free planner, which is going to let you put all of this into greater detail for your specific business. They have just a few other elements that I want you to think about when planning out your website. And the first one is mobile. So over 55% of worldwide website traffic occurs on mobile devices. And for many types of websites, this can be much, much higher. But one mistake I see a lot of website owners make is that they're constantly evaluating their website from the desktop. And that makes sense. You're working likely at your computer when you're working on your business. And so that's how you tend to look at your website. But if most people are viewing your website from the mobile view, you might be focusing on all the wrong things, or you might have information laid out in a way that's not as ideal on the phone versus the computer. So that's something that you should, think about. Make sure you're looking at your website from the mobile view, so that you're sure that everything flows properly for that person that is scrolling on the smaller screen. So a few things that I like to keep in mind for mobile are keeping the menus and the navigation really simple, focusing on scrolling over clicking. We're also accustomed to scrolling through content on social media that, making several trips to the menu can be frustrating on a phone, or if you have multiple levels of drop downs in your menu, that can be, not a good experience on a mobile device. Keeping the design simple so that you don't bog down the speed of your website, making important information easy to find, encouraging more content discovery. Mobile users tend to have shorter session durations. So if you can get them in reading more of your content, that takes more time. That keeps them on your website longer. And longer session durations can help improve your engagement with that target customer. The more time they spend on your website and with your brand, the more aware, the deeper their relationship becomes with your brand. And then choosing a platform with mobile editing or previewing. This is Most platforms have this today. So on most website builders and things like that, you can look and preview your website on the mobile view and even make potential adjustments for the mobile view of your website. So this is less of a concern today, but make sure you're looking into that as you're evaluating different platforms. And then analytics. So if you're putting all of this effort into your website, then you're going to want to be sure you're tracking your website's activity. You can do this with Google Analytics, which is free. And with Google Analytics installed, you can see how many people are visiting your website, how long they're staying on your website, which pages they visit most often, where they're coming from. So if they're getting there through a Google search, if they're clicking over from social media, or other websites that might be linking to your website. So this is where you could really figure out how your website is performing, along with any of your, marketing campaigns that are happening. So you can see, if you ran a ad campaign anywhere, if your website traffic is growing with that campaign. And that would include, online or offline. Like even if you were running a radio campaign for your small business, and you were saying, visit our website for more information, you should be able to see a spike in traffic if that campaign is working for you. A few notes on marketing. So I launched this great website, but I'm not getting any customers. Um, it's easy for small business owners to feel this way. But your website is not a build it and they will come asset. It's going to take additional work on and off your website in order for it to start acquiring customers. So you want to think of your website as one element in your overall marketing mix. I feel terrible because often business owners feel that the investment in the website itself and just getting a website online is going to have some type of impact on them being able to acquire customers. But in reality, you're going to have to drive traffic to that website through content, through social media, through online or traditional ads and other marketing activities. So there's an old rule in marketing that says it can take up to 7 touch points with the brand before someone is ready to take action with that brand. But today, with so many, marketing messages that come at us that vie for our attention, that number is definitely higher than 7. So you need to take small marketing actions to get your brand in front of your audience multiple times and to potentially get them to your website multiple times. And then you want to, make sure you're looking at your analytics before making big changes to your website. So what tends to happen is people will get a website up online. They might have it up for a few weeks, maybe even a few months. And they'll say like, oh, a couple hundred people have come to my website, but nobody's signed up. Well, it's possible that that couple hundred people was not enough people to make an impact, and that they haven't been to your website enough times or seen your brand enough times in order for them to feel comfortable converting. And so what tends to happen is that after this small amount of time, the business owner will say, well, there must be something wrong with the website. I need to change this button, or I need to change the headline, or I need to change the design because it must not be working. Well, the more likely culprit is the lack of marketing supporting the website. So I would encourage you to, make sure you put up a website that has the elements we talked about today, and that you put together a marketing plan to help support the website, help drive traffic to the website, help get in front of your audience over and over and over again before evaluating the website to determine that something does or doesn't work. So you definitely want to, have a focus on marketing to go along with the website that you're going to launch. Okay, so once you have a solid plan in place and you know what your website needs to do, you can go back and look at the various, website platforms or potential website providers and decide which one is going to suit your specific needs. So I've put together this list of questions here. There's not a correct answer to these questions. You simply have to be happy with the answer to the question for the platform that you ultimately end up choosing. So, you can use these to help evaluate different website builders, or, if you're going to work with a professional, these questions would help you evaluate how that professional does business as well. So will it grow and adapt with your business? Is the option you're looking at going to be able to grow and change as the needs of your business grows and changes? So for example, if you were going to hire someone to build your website, maybe they have a higher hourly rate. Do you feel like you're going to be able to not only develop the website now with them, but if you need their help in the future to adapt your business, is that going to be a viable option for you? Is the website builder you're looking at, like say you want to add a course later, are you going to be able to add that course onto the website when it's ready? Things like that. Do I want to spend my time or my money, and what is the value? your time does have value, and where you spend it in your business matters a lot. I can tell you from my time when I was running billings365.com, which relied on advertiser dollars in order to make money, that any time that I spent like tinkering with my website was time that didn't actually grow my business. My business grew when I was out talking to potential advertisers, keeping my existing advertisers happy, and growing my audience so that I had a sizable number of people for my advertisers to reach. So it was actually better for me to spend my time there and outsource the website piece of it, right? So that is something you want to think about as you're planning out your business and how you're going to spend your time, and if it really does make sense for you to be the person in charge of building and maintaining your website. Do the platform's features match your requirements? Now that you know what features you need, you can look back at the different platforms available and make sure they're going to handle that feature how you envision it. Are hosting and SSL and other essentials included? So your website is a compilation of digital files. It has to be stored somewhere online, just like files take up space on your computer. You have to have online hosting for your website. If you're going to use a website builder or you're paying a monthly or annual subscription for your website, hosting is typically included with like a website builder or something that you're paying a subscription for. If you build your website on the WordPress content management system or a content management system like Drupal or Joomla, those types of websites have to be uploaded onto a host so they can be accessed. So you may need to set up hosting for your website, or if you have someone build your website for you, they would likely set up that hosting on your behalf. An SSL is a security certificate on your domain. So anytime you see the little lock icon in your browser before a website address, or if you see HTTPS, that means the domain or that website is secured with an SSL. It helps protect people's information if they're going to be filling out forms or payment information on your website. It's basically required these days by Google. Like if you don't have an SSL, sometimes it will serve up a warning like, are you sure you want to visit this website? It seems to be not secure. So you don't want to have that type of friction. So you should have an SSL on your domain. Again, if you're paying a subscription, then an SSL is potentially included with your website. If it's not included, you can register an SSL wherever you register your domain. Do you have access to make edits on your own? Of course, if you build your own website, you'll be able to edit your own website. If you hire someone to build your website for you, this arrangement can vary. Some, high-end agencies work with certain customers and all changes go through the agency, and the business ends up paying like a retainer or hourly fee. And many businesses are happy with that. They don't want to touch their website. They don't have in-house staff who can make the edits. So they're happy to have an agency just handle all of that for them. Others may give partial access, so they may make it possible for you to add blog posts or add products, or maybe even change text and images throughout the website. But they might lock you out of the design files or the so you can't add your own plugins and things like that. And that's just, that's a measure to make sure that the website can't be broken very easily, because a lot of times if you mess with the design files especially, or you add plugins, that can affect various things, especially on a WordPress website with that type of stuff. So they might just make it possible so you can't access those things. And then other providers will give you full unfettered access. So you can do whatever you want. If you add a plugin and the site breaks, it's on you. So it just depends on what arrangement you want, but different providers will have different arrangements as far as that goes. And then what is the cost of future change requests? If you're building and managing the website yourself, your time is going to be that future investment for future changes. If you hire someone to build your website for you, how do they handle future changes? If something takes, 15 minutes of their time, do they still charge you for the full hour? Um, what's their turnaround time on changes and things like that? Make sure you understand how that works. How is support handled, and is there a cost? Different website platforms that have different subscription plans are likely going to have different support levels with those subscription plans. So if one of the plans has email only support and 48-hour turnaround, do you feel like you're happy with that? Do you have 48 hours to wait if you need help with your website? If somebody built your website for you, how did they handle support? Do they include any type of support on an ongoing basis? Would you pay hourly for that support? If the website gets hacked, were they responsible for securing it? Are you going to have to pay to unhack it? Things like that. And then what happens if you want to switch? So this one's relatively important because there can be all kinds of reasons you want to change platforms or technology or providers in the future. You might be unhappy with the service of your current provider. There might be a feature on a new platform that you feel would benefit your business. All kinds of reasons you may want to change. It's important to note that whenever you change between technology, so if you move from Squarespace to Wix or Wix to WordPress or WordPress to Shopify, etc., whenever you're moving amongst platforms, you're changing technology, the design always is going to have to be reconfigured to the platform you're moving to. And that's because all of these platforms have their own design systems, they have their own code base that, it's just, you can't move a Wix design over to a Squarespace website and have it function properly. It just doesn't work like that. But the important thing is you want to know you can take your content with you. So if you've added, hundreds of blog posts to your website or hundreds of products, you don't want to have to manually move that content over to your new website. You want to be able to export that content and upload it into the new uh, platform. And different platforms have different policies around this. Some do not let you take your content, and I think that's an important thing to know before you sign up. Some let you take partial content, but not all of your content, and some will do a full export of all of your content. So it's important to know, what the policy is on that before you sign up, so you have that future flexibility. So your options for getting a new website have traditionally kind of fallen into two categories. The first is the do-it-yourself option. These platforms are often desirable because they're mostly affordable and because they're marketed as easy to use. The main drawback here is that while they do have a lower upfront cost, they do require more of your time, which is just a different kind of cost, right? If you're spending time um, building your website, that's time you can't be out networking for new clients and things like that. In this scenario, you're going to have to develop all your content, organize it, implement any needed integrations, make sure your business looks good in one of their templates. On the other side of the spectrum, you can hire an agency or freelancer to build your website for you. WordPress is still kind of the behemoth in this space, although there are designers who will build or design your Squarespace, Wix, Shopify website for you. You can find providers who will work on those platforms. The benefit of done for you is, it's going to save you a bunch of time. These folks are going to take care of the technical aspects for you. They're probably going to do a custom design so it reflects your brand exactly as you want it reflected online. They're going to bring a lot of expertise to the table that you're not going to get in the do-it-yourself space, right? Hopefully you're working with a reputable provider. They've built lots of different websites, so they've seen a lot of things. So if you come and you say, well, I want to do e-commerce and I have a certain way that I want it to work, they're going to have the knowledge to help you get to the solution to make it work the way you want faster. Of course, the issue that tends to prevent especially new businesses, from choosing this option is the higher upfront cost. And then my company, we have traditionally fallen into kind of this hybrid category, and there's others like us in this space where we have our own platform. So our website owners can get in, make changes, and edit on their own. Um, but traditionally, we have designed and put the website together for them, just on this easier to use platform that we have. We're actually kind of morphing more into the do-it-yourself space, but we're taking a little bit different approach, so that you would create your website simply by answering questions. So you would answer questions about your business, and then Cardsetter, the platform, would put the website together based on your answers. That's kind of been our process to date. We have a system that asks questions of our customers, and then we use those answers to put their website together for them. And we're simply trying to morph all of that into the platform itself. So we will be moving more into that do-it-yourself space. But there are hybrid approaches out there that have um, cost structures where you pay monthly or annually. It costs a little bit more than the Shopify, Wix, Squarespace monthly plan, but it includes more hands-on support. So you actually have, someone there to help you put the website together, and a higher level of support. But it costs a little bit less, well, significantly less than the full done for you option. So lots of different options for you to consider these days when it comes to platforms and providers, and really a solution for just about everyone. Okay, and with that, I will open it up for any questions.
Well, we've had a couple, Jessica.
Okay.
Uh, Leah asked, well, when you were showing the baby clothing website, she asked what was the name of that website, because she says, I am currently working on my website where I want to personalize party favors, and I would love to create a how it works section.
So that was called Sprouting Weeds. We haven't launched that particular website just yet. But that's what they have in progress, and plan to launch before they, before their service is completely done. But I would encourage you just to, think of you how this personalized party favors business is going to work in a way that you can simplify that, for your audience in 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. You can see examples of that on lots of different types of websites. Like HelloFresh would be one, like any of the meal prep type of websites will have that, how it works. That can be a good example to draw from.
Thank you. Kathleen asked, how much would it cost to get a professional website set up? You kind of talked about, I don't know if you can answer that. That's a wide range, right?
Right. So all of that is going to depend on the needs and requirements, the features that you need, things like that. If you're going to work with a website developer or agency, they're going to say, how much content development do we need to do for this client? How much custom development might be required? What type of tools are we going to need to integrate? And they're going to come up with kind of an hourly um, estimate of what that website would cost. I can tell you from my WordPress days when we did that type of work, those websites typically ranged, 2,500 on the low end up to 10 grand for anything more complex. We're kind of the average range for websites that we did in that space. The hybrid option can be more affordable. At Cardsetter, our pricing used to be $199 for the initial setup, and then $54 a month for the ongoing support, for use of the platform, and for a number of change requests each month that we would include in that fee. So if you had something you didn't want to tackle on your own, you could send to our team and we would take care of that. We don't have that available anymore, but you can Google around for other, hybrid type of providers that have that type of pricing structure. So it kind of lowers your upfront cost because you're paying monthly, and it also allows your website to grow and change um, with your business with hands-on help as you go.
Thank you. I think we got time for one more. Brian says, I produce a community magazine and would like to incorporate a calendar of events. Is there a best practice to show this? Should I have an existing actual calendar or just a listing?
Yeah, so I would, depending on, what platforms you're considering, I would look at their options for event listings. And I would definitely put them on as listings themselves, like directly on the website, not like in a PDF or not in like just a visual calendar, because you're likely to have a lot of people on their phone. That's the type of website Billings 365 was, and we had 70% um, mobile website traffic on that particular website because people are, looking for what they're going to do. They're in more leisure mode, so they're going to want to scroll through those events and see what's coming up and click on them to get more information. So I would make sure you're looking for something that has that type of functionality.
Well, I think we're coming to an end here. Thank you so much for sharing with us again. I always learn a lot when you do this. I'm going to
Thank you.
share my page.